Is everything rolling?
Yeah. Yeah. Good.
Shit, if I knew you were going to dress up, I would have dressed up.
Oh no, you look just fine. That's the perfect attire for my guests.
Oh.
I usually look slobby on here, or I did at first in the beginning when I started recording this, and I was like, maybe I should dress a little nice. Look decent for my podcast.
You want me to lay down like a psychiatrist?
You can do whatever you want, if that makes you feel better.
You want to do it first time?
Welcome to Ordinary Joe's Extraordinary Stories, a podcast that shines a light on ordinary people and their extraordinary stories. From small towns to big cities, we're sharing the real, raw, and inspiring moments that connect us all. Because every voice matters. Every story counts. This is Ordinary Joe's Extraordinary Stories. Welcome back, Joes. You see me, I see you, and I know what you're here for. You're here for another episode of Ordinary Joe's Extraordinary Stories, and I have that for you. I have another Ordinary Joe with some crazy stories to tell. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this. Welcome, Anthony Napolitano. Anthony, thanks for joining me today.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
I appreciate it, man. This is another one of those ones that's a long time coming. You and I talked about this for a long time before we actually made this happen, and I'm excited that it's actually here.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
Okay, so let's start off. Take me back to Anthony Napolitano's childhood. Where were you born? Where'd you grow up?
I was born in New York, Queens, New York, Jamaica Village to be correct.
Now you have a Italian last name, is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So you have Italian roots?
I'm full Italian. Yeah.
So you go back to the mafia days.
Pretty much. Well, yeah.
That's cool, man.
Plead the fifth on that one.
Good man. That's really cool. My wife, prior to us getting married, she also had an Italian last name. I think her father's side of the family is from New York. They were Casamento.
Yeah, my grandmother on my mom's side, both my grandfather and my grandmother came over
Nice.
from Italy. Amazing story about my grandmother. She was actually an orphan. And she was adopted by the owner of a chocolate factory in Perugia.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, so my grandmother was like her caretaker, and she traveled the world with this woman. And I was like, damn, never thought of that, you know.
Chocolate factory? That's cool. That's some Willy Wonka shit.
Yeah, Perugia chocolate or something.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah,
Is it something from the East Coast?
No, Italy.
Oh, from Italy.
Yes.
Oh shit.
Yeah, she was born in Italy, and she grew up as an orphan. Her and her sister.
Oh, okay, I see.
So,
how did they make it over here?
I don't remember how, but somehow they did travel on the ship.
Nice.
Came over, landed in New York.
That's crazy.
And now her sister never came. Just my grandmother.
So your great aunt stayed in Italy.
Yeah.
Nice.
Which I did get to meet in high school when I traveled to Italy with a group of us.
Oh, so you've actually been there?
Yeah.
And what part of Italy?
Naples, Perugia.
Nice.
We went all over the place.
Perugia's a town.
Yeah.
Or a city.
City, yeah. But Naples is where they're from. Naples, Italy.
Bro, that's cool.
So
is the chocolate factory still a thing?
I'm not sure, but I did get to meet some of my relatives.
That's cool.
When I was there, my grandmother set it up to where they met me, and I was like, damn, that's my cousin?
That's wild.
I wish I wasn't related to her, but, you know.
Discovering roots in another country, that's fucking awesome, man.
Now, don't get me wrong, my grandmother was like the glue with that half.
Oh, okay.
So when my grandmother passed away, that pretty much dissolved a lot of those ties and links to Italy. But I remember she'd always want a place to call, and she'd have to dial a certain number. And
wow,
growing up, and
that's wild.
She always wanted me to learn Italian, but I never did. I always tried to ask her why. We live in America. So,
oh man, do you regret that?
I do, because later in life, I ended up, I'll get into that, marrying a woman from Mexico.
Yes.
So she spoke Spanish, and had I spoke English or
Italian.
Italian,
Yeah, yeah. You would have had a close root
a lot,
system.
a lot of yeah, a lot of ties and
Interesting.
similarities.
Well,
So
I mean, there's never a better time than the present. I'm currently working on Italian because we have a trip to Italy planned for this year, later
sweet.
this year. So
If you go to you got to go to the trivia fountain.
we're going all of it. We're gonna do all the touristy stuff. You know, we gotta experience it once. So
You know, it's like a game over there. Like you toss a coin, and you actually pinch women on the ass.
what?
It's like good luck or something. Yeah, it's pretty. Of
um,
course, I was pinching as many butts as I could, but
I,
you
I
know,
don't think I'll be playing that game.
oh, you'll be there with your wife. Yeah, that's true.
That doesn't sound appealing. Okay, so tell me about your childhood in New York.
Well, it wasn't very long. We ended up moving from Queens to Long Island. I don't know remember a whole lot of it because I was really young when we left New York. But my brother was 2 years older than me. I remember stories of my dad used to go fishing, and he'd have a bunch of cop buddies because a lot of my family were city police officers,
Oh, cool.
and he used to go fishing. I think one time my dad told me he caught a shark, and next thing you know, all these guys are pulling out guns, shooting the son of a bitch.
What the
Yeah,
fuck?
boom, boom, yeah, shooting it. But yeah, so it's pretty crazy. But I grew up in or lived in Long Island for a couple years. I think I was like 3 or 4 when I moved to West Virginia. The reason why we came to West Virginia was my mom and my aunt were twins. So, being that they were twins, and my aunt met a person in the military,
Okay.
my uncle, who lived in West Virginia.
Okay.
So they decided when he got out of the military, they moved back to West Virginia. Of course, the when the right hemisphere and the left hemisphere separate, the two brains got to come back together. So she begged my mom to come to West Virginia, and my dad was okay with it because he kind of fed up with the hustle and bustle of New York,
Fair enough.
and and so he told my aunt, "Look, if you can find a gas station, because my dad was a master mechanic,
Nice.
that he's willing to travel to West Virginia and start a home there."
Nice.
So she did. She found a 76 station in West Virginia.
No kidding. That's fucking cool.
Yeah. So my dad ended up buying that. And I remember growing up, I would always go to the station and be hanging out with my dad and doing things.
This is in the generation it was still like before self service, right? Where like you had an
Oh, yeah,
attendant and all that.
you went out and actually pumped the gas for
That's
them.
wild.
So I learned that and
That's
a couple
cool.
other things. And he had a garage, and he was always fixing people's cars. And he had a group of people to work for him. But I was like, "Dad, why'd you quit that business?" He said, "And he goes, they always wanted me to work on the car, and I had guys to work on the car, and I would just oversee them. But everybody wanted my dad to."
Well, to that key, I can attest that it's hard to find a good mechanic, especially a
Yeah,
trustworthy mechanic. So yeah, I get it. Like, why would you want the trainee to work on it when the pro is sitting right there?
right. And my dad wasn't one to say no, so he always sold himself short and worked on everybody's cars, and he had a couple guys that to this day still thank him for everything they taught him and stuff,
That's cool.
and I was the same way. Growing up, I always wanted to learn. Problem was, I was the black sheep of the family, so I'd always cause more trouble than I would
Hold on. How so were you?
the
How were
black
you?
sheep.
Yeah. Why were you the black sheep? What caused that?
I was,
Were you?
I was always the one that spoke my mind.
And they
That
didn't
was
like that.
not that they didn't like that, um, but I was always the one that shit happened to.
So
You
you
know,
just didn't fall in line, and because of that, you had consequences.
a whole bunch of consequences.
Let's get into that, man. Let's talk about it. That's what I'm here for.
uh, I don't even know where to begin.
What started your your little journey into chaos? What?
Well, growing up, I was, just an average Joe. I was probably overweight. Well, I was overweight. I always, I remember sticking up for kids that couldn't stick up for themselves.
That's cool. There's nothing wrong with that.
But then, I was 200 plus pounds in sixth grade. So,
No shit, really?
yeah, so I was a big boy in sixth
Damn.
grade.
Was your dad also a big guy?
He was a big guy. Yeah.
So genetics.
Genetics. My brother was more the athletic type.
Okay.
Um, and then in seventh grade, I just blossomed. Lost a lot of weight,
Nice.
blossomed. And that's where my downfall started, probably.
No shit.
Yeah, because
Self improvement led to chaos.
self improvement led to
More confidence, maybe. Yeah.
more confidence, but more attention. I was
Huh.
getting attention and I was thriving off that.
Okay.
That wasn't good because I'd say maybe I'm dating someone.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm dating someone, but then I notice somebody else gives me attention. Well, when you're starving for that growing up, all the way up to sixth grade, I remember one girl turning me down and said, "Oh, he's fat. He's this, he's that." So then when I lost all this weight and now I'm getting attention, you would tend to hop from girl to girl to girl. And I guess that was okay, but it also came back to haunt me.
Good.
Yeah.
Karma.
Karma's a bitch, and it came back.
Sure.
Trust me. Um, but yeah, I would, and I see that very same thing that happened to me in my life with my marriages and with things of that nature. So that's the kind of karma that came back.
Well, unfortunate, but also, lessons learned moving forward in the future. You know what to. You,
Look for.
I'm sure. I'm
Absolutely.
sure that it made you a better person as well.
Yeah, it took a while, but it
Sure.
it did. It's like I'm here for, I don't know, maybe a different purpose. I don't know what it is. It took me a long time to learn.
Okay.
You think after all the shit that I've been through that I would have learned early on, but it was almost like I was oblivious to it. I didn't care.
Sure. I mean
Uh,
but that's most people growing up. Like I had that thought many, many times. I don't care. It doesn't matter right now because I don't care what happens later.
yeah, I mean, but then it came everything down, after the girlfriends and jumping from one to the other and then playing sports, and you happen to be, you know, a good at football, good at baseball. Never went anywhere with it. I wish I would have, you know, all through high school playing football, it was a lot of competition, and I remember always wanting to get my coaches, you know, I don't want to say, you always want him to say something good.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Affirmation.
Affirmation. He never say anything good, except in 1990 or 1987 when we won state champs. He finally said one thing. He said, "You did a good job. You deserve it."
Wow.
And I was like shocked. And this was on the playing field the day of the game. So it
Now
was
you speak as though you've lived 10 lives. How old are you?
56.
You're 56. Okay, so you've got a little bit of life lived.
Yes.
Let Tell me about your experience when you started to get into real trouble and started to veer down this lane that's going to teach you the karma.
Okay. Well, I guess it all started, after going to college, joining a fraternity,
What'd you go to college for, by the way?
mechanical engineering.
No shit. Nice. And you graduated?
Graduated,
What
bachelor's
what school did you go to?
at Fairmont State University,
Where's that?
West Virginia.
Okay, cool.
So it was nice. Joined first 2 years straight A's, and then I decided to live up there.
Okay.
And actually, I joined a fraternity. Probably not a good thing to do.
that's
Um,
that's really funny that you say that because I had somebody on previously who spoke about the positive nature of joining a fraternity
there
and
was some good and there was bad. Leadership was a good thing, but partying, that tended to get in the way. So
now that's probably an individual thing though, right? Because not everybody's going to go down the path you went, and maybe that was because of your choices and the effect of partying on you.
I think it was also my attention seeking. So because I was always looking for attention.
Okay.
It was hard for me to say no.
Okay.
It's hard for me to say, hey, no, guys, I got to study tonight.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
no.
No, I get that.
Um, so partying was a thing, and and fortunately, my grades didn't suffer much,
Good for you.
but they weren't straight A's that they were the first 2 years for sure.
That's incredible.
But it was a great learning experience. I mean, the problem was there was always things around alcohol, drugs.
Now,
Um,
do you have addiction in your family? Do you have an addictive personality? What was about those
oh yeah,
specifically?
my uncle in New York, he was probably a bottle a week. He was a professional boxer
Oh shit.
who always tried to, like he'd have a fight, and my aunt was or my great aunt was telling me this stuff. They would always say, you got to get your rest. You got to go. Hell, he'd be out partying and sleeping with women the night before the fight.
Oh my
So
god.
he'd have rubber legs and everything else next day, and that was just him. And he was the one that grew up and was part, doing some jobs, from what I understand, collecting money for mob
Oh, enforcer shit.
enforcer shit. Yeah.
Wow.
So I kind of looked up to him. So
Oh shit. There's some deep rooted shit there.
yeah.
That's
So
wild.
and then there was other things in my family. I guess I had my some depression,
Okay.
a lot of severe
And
depression.
what did that stem from?
I don't know what side of the family it was, but
Do you think that was
growing,
genetic too? It wasn't because of your surroundings or your situation. It was more genetic.
it was until recently. And I'll get into that.
Okay.
Yeah, for years I was on medication, OCD and depression medication.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
Gnarly.
And then even sleep problems.
Oh damn.
I had sleep problems. Had my uvula taken out. Had deviated septum fixed. Had tonsils taken out. All that to try to correct,
Wow.
sleeping and all that.
Wow.
And they said, "Oh, you don't need your uvula." I'm like, "You sure?" Yeah. Go try to drink at a fountain after you lose your uvula.
That's the hangy thing in the back of your throat,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Water comes up out of your nose, and I about
Oh,
choked
no
to death.
shit.
Yeah, yeah. So, and then even to this day, if I'm eating something like rice or something, and I take a breath, sometimes it'll go right down my throat. So I think the uvula, what its purpose was, kind of like blocks maybe the food or the airway.
Wow, dude, you're the first person I've ever met who's had that removed. That's crazy.
They wanted to shave my tongue, but I wouldn't let them do that one.
What does that involve?
Big, oh, shaving your tongue?
Yeah, what like shave a layer off of it or something?
I think take some of it off, because what it does when you're sleeping, it relaxes and seals your throat.
Okay.
So if you have an oversized tongue,
Holy shit, that's
I was
fucking
like, come
crazy.
on, man, you already took my uvula. I'm not gonna let you take my tongue.
Damn, that's gnarly.
Yeah. So, but growing up and and wanting attention or thriving on attention because I never had that.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that stems from, and I don't even want to say this, but I would always be like my dad's little shadow,
Okay.
when he's working on cars or whatever. But the problem was I was always the fuck up in a sense. Like, and I remember this one incident where he was working in the garage, single car garage, rebuilding a Subaru that was wrecked, and I'm watching him, and I'm leaning over on this little step stool, and what do? I knock one of the sockets into the engine,
Oh
and
fuck.
next thing I know, my dad, God love him, though, he's like, "Motherfucker, fucking kids." I don't want to say, that's just the way we talked,
That's
you know.
fair. I live
So,
that life, so
so I'd take off running, and I'd go in the kitchen, and I'd hide behind mom, and mom would say, "What's going on, Phil?" "Oh shit, he just causing me more trouble. Now I gotta fish this socket out." And that was the story that vividly stood in my mind,
that's wild.
and also too, growing up, my brother. Oh, talk about an intelligent person. He every time we got in trouble, he had the most stern, straight face there ever was. And here I'm telling the truth, and he's got the whole story. elaborated in his favor, and then I would start laughing because I couldn't believe what he was saying.
That's wild.
And then my mom and my dad would say, "Oh well, Anthony, you're laughing. We know you're not telling the truth."
Oh my god.
But I was telling the truth, but nobody believed me. So that went on for years, and then my brother and I, we were always at it. I could never hurt him because I never wanted to hurt him.
Sure.
But hell, that I remember one time we got in a fight. Here came a ping pong paddle right beside my head. He threw it at me, landed in the wall, stuck in the wall.
Holy shit.
You ever them Rubik's Cube little pyramid
Yeah.
diamonds things? I think I did something, took off running, and here came one of them flying at me, and it stuck in the door jamb.
Oh my god, dude.
And I'd come out looking like, you son of a bitch, throwing shit at him.
That's wild.
I remember one time he threw me through the garage door and looked at me and said, "Oh shit, I'm leaving. You fix it." So here I am, a young kid trying to fix the door jamb, nailing it all back up.
What the fuck, dude?
And for years, my dad never noticed it. So, and then one time there was this partition. It was spring loaded, going from the ceiling, or no, going from like a little nook
Uh-huh.
to another nook, and it was spring loaded, and it was just like a piece of plastic thing there. Threw me into that. Of course, the spring fell off. Boom! Shot up to the ceiling, and we're both looking. There's a big hole in the ceiling.
Oh my god.
And once again, he said, "Oh shit, I'm leaving. You fix it." And here I am mudding and trying to fix a hole in the ceiling, and
How the fuck old are you?
I don't know.
You're a little
I'm not
kid
old.
mudding
Yeah.
and shit, dude.
I think maybe 8, 9
What
years
the
old.
fuck?
Um,
I wouldn't even have known where to start at that age.
well, I
I'd have
remember,
gotten the duct tape and been like,
yeah, I remember watching my dad,
oh, that's
do all this
naughty.
stuff.
That's crazy.
But he always, then eventually we'd get caught, and eventually he'd have a good story,
And you wouldn't.
and I'd be laughing because I was like, "You got to be kidding me." So
That's crazy, man.
I guess
So did
after all that, you start to say, "Well, maybe I'm, telling the truth doesn't make sense anymore, does it?"
oh, that's wild.
Yeah. So
Well, so you talk about attention a lot. Did that lack of attention start at home? Is that where it initiated, or are you talking about attention from friends and other relatives?
it was both. Um, Not really. My mom was always, she gave me all the attention in the world. Probably too much
Hmm.
because I'd always run to her for support. My mom, she was a saint. Um, Maybe more attention from my brother. My brother never wanted to, he'd go out with his friends, never take me.
Yeah, I lived that life.
Yeah, and then maybe some attention from my dad because my dad, growing up in New York, you say what you feel, and your emotions came out, and I'm always there, like you know, basically like a piece of tissue in his ass, trying to figure out what's going on, what he's doing, trying to learn. But then I end up causing a problem. So so
That's
maybe I was
crazy.
always looking for that attention. But growing up, like I said, I was an overweight kid, and when I started getting outside attention is when I started. I didn't have my own boundaries. I wasn't, saying no to the things that were good or bad, and just saying, "Hey, this person wants to do something. Let's go do it."
So that and the combination with maybe a little bit of genetic addiction.
Oh yeah, the addiction was a bad thing because alcohol became a problem early on. It, I had 3 DUIs by 1998. I graduated in 91.
Oh shit.
So, but it wasn't, I did get married in 1991, divorced in 93. Here's the downfall there. Granted, I was always against drugs. I was always against any of that growing up. My dad was really like, stay away from that. It wasn't until I was introduced to that in college, and then where I dipped and dabbled,
Yeah.
and then it wasn't until I graduated college and got married and went to Virginia to work for my wife's father. Great man, gave me an opportunity, and I was supervisor for construction.
Okay.
So that's where I learned to build homes.
Nice.
So,
Good skill to have.
but as we were doing that, um, I noticed, people taking stuff from them, people, other like they'd have a trailer full of supplies, you know, extra windows, this, that, and things would come up missing.
Oh shit.
So,
Like his own employees?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Fuck.
So I ended up telling them that, but it met a lot of people there, met a lot of nice Spanish speaking people. And I tell you what, they're hard workers, boy.
Oh, 100%.
I remember um, we had a crew of bricklayers, and they were bricking this 3 or 5,000 square foot home, and they were on scaffolding. And I'm thinking, okay, we're going to get a pulley system here. Nah, they gather like 12 bricks in their hands, throw them up to the guy on the next level. He'd scoop them up, throw them up to the guy on the next
What
level.
the fuck?
And I'm like, that's death waiting to happen there. But they never missed a beat,
That's
you know.
fucking gnarly, dude.
And
That's crazy.
they'd throw the mortar up, they'd throw all that stuff up, and they'd
That's
put up
cool.
a brick house so fast. I remember them coming to me, and we'd always have like this food truck, and we go and they would drive around, and we'd get sandwiches and stuff for lunch.
Uh-huh.
And I remember them asking me, "No work?" I'm like, "Migo, what are you done?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "You got work? You got work?" So I would always give them something to do, and they'd jump right in and do it and take care of it.
Nice.
And I remember this would have been a turn for my life, but there was one group or um, apprenticeship there that had a band, and I remember them asking me if I could sing, and I was like, "Hell no, I can't sing." And but had I went that route, God only knows what would have happened there. I would have been in a band and everything else. But I ended up coming back to West Virginia because the company that I worked for throughout the summers I was in school had a position that opened up. So I ended up coming back to West Virginia and working for the gas company there and put in 14 years. And then I ended up getting married to my wife.
So real quick, to that on that marriage, how did you meet your wife?
Met my wife in college.
In college.
Yeah,
Okay, and
she was in sorority. I was in fraternity.
how old were you guys when you got married?
I think I was 21, somewhere around
So
there.
was it just a young marriage that didn't last because it was a young marriage, or
No,
I just want to explore a little bit about this because I want to talk about the similarities or differences later on.
I think it was a marriage that when she came to West Virginia after we got married, I had an apartment
Uh,
waiting. I had bought her a brand new, her dream car. So mind you, I was working at the gas company and I was still living with my parents. And
wait, you were married and living with your
no,
parents?
I was still working at the gas
Oh,
company
back then. Okay,
and working and living with my parents.
I see. I see.
And I was driving back and forth to Virginia after I left there
Okay,
to be with my wife.
yeah.
And we ended up getting married, and she came to West Virginia.
Okay,
Now, granted, I think she loved her family, and she was always wanting to travel back and forth to Virginia to see her family. So I did as much as I could. We'd go on the weekends, we'd go see her family, and I tell you that was a blessed family. That was a nice family. They were a real close knit group.
that's
Five
cool.
girls, I think 4 girls or 5 girls and a boy, and I'd go there. I'd have a great time. We'd
Okay,
have a blast, but it got to the point where I couldn't go all the time,
sure.
and I think it was when my wife, was in school, everything was fine, but when she went home for those years and then ended up leaving her family again, that's when she realized that, she wanted that family camaraderie.
That closeness.
And I probably should have moved to Virginia and looked for a job there, but I ended up, sticking it out in West Virginia. But she ended up going back and forth to Virginia. So then we decided to buy a house in our hometown. We bought a house there. I thought maybe things would change, but now all that did was give me more responsibility, cut grass, fix up the house.
Sure.
And then my job, I was also on call for some weekends. I'd have to stay home for that. But religiously every Friday, she would get off work, drive to Virginia, and then come back Sunday nights late and go to work Monday. She did that for so long. Um, Next thing I know, I got my friends calling me asking, "Hey, man, you want to come over and play cards?" Because I done all my chores on the weekend, and Saturday night came and had nothing to do, so I'd go over and play poker. And these were some guys I grew up in high school with, and we ended up causing some havoc and drinking. And I remember one time, we're sitting there, and one of the guys who was a prominent name in the neighborhood, he was a postman. And next thing I know, he pulls out some drugs, some cocaine. And next thing I know, we're doing cocaine on every Saturday night while we're playing cards.
Oh, every Saturday night.
Yeah. And granted, it was just in the beginning, it was just something to do. And, you know, and I remember, we got rowdy playing cards, shooting bow in the house and
What the
bow and
fuck?
arrow. Yeah. I was playing, I think one of us tried to put an apple on her head while another guy
Oh
shot.
my god.
Yeah, so it was pretty. Looking back, it was pretty dangerous, but back then you don't think none of that.
Jesus, dude.
So so that went on for a while, and then that became not just a Saturday thing;
Oh,
it became a habit.
started moving into the rest of your life.
Yeah, so that became a habit, and that's I think I was numbing a lot of pain,
Oh.
because um, like I said, my wife going back and forth to Virginia. Um,
But it sounds to me like you guys didn't have a lot of interaction together. It sounded like she was gone when you were home and you were gone when she was home and
Pretty much. Well, we were together during the week, but we both worked,
right, so you
so
didn't get a lot of time
we didn't
together.
get a lot of time together. And then on the weekends, I mean, at least 3, maybe 4 weekends a month, she'd be back and forth to Virginia.
Right, so that put a lot of strain on your
Yeah,
relationship.
and like I said, looking back, I probably should have moved to Virginia because a man is okay not being around a family. I really didn't spend much time with my family, even though I lived in the same neighborhood.
Oh
So
wow.
I'd go over and see my mom all the time, my mom and dad. It wasn't like it bothered me like it bothered her. So I probably should have moved to Virginia, got out of the small town, and started a career there, but decided not to. And then we ended up, um, yeah. Um, so what ended up happening there was my extracurricular activity became a habit, and I don't know if my parents were aware. I don't know who was aware,
Uh-huh.
but I wasn't myself.
Okay.
Um, I was doing everything from they got this little thing called a one bullet. It's a little vial, put powder in it. You turn the powder, fill the little capsule, and you snort it in your nose. Call it a day or call it a minute or whatever, however long it lasted.
Sure.
So I did that for a while, and I remember one time, my wife's family asked me to go to Virginia to say grace during their wedding ceremony. Um, and here I had that vial in my pocket. And while we were there, I think my wife reached in my pocket for something. Ended up finding that vial.
Oh.
Yeah, that wasn't good. Um, so as soon as she saw that, that was grounds for her to leave me
Good for her for being a strong woman.
Yeah,
We'll say that.
she left me and said that she wasn't gonna come back. But I don't think she liked being in West Virginia anyway.
Okay.
So that was just
So maybe it was
that was the
just
icing on the cake. Yeah.
sure.
So she ended up leaving, and she said she wasn't gonna come back until she I went to rehab, and problem was I didn't go to rehab right away. I went balls to the wall.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it was bad. I went all out at this point because I figured she left me. Now I'm numbing it as much as I can,
Dude.
and it turned into I never missed work.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
And I always weekends come, party my ass off, people over the house, um, but go to bed. Go to bed. Saturday, Sunday night, you gotta go to bed. You gotta get sleep. Get up, go to work. And I always went to work.
That's crazy.
And as that life continued, then you finally get the balls enough to go to rehab. And then when you're in rehab, you call your wife and you ask her to come down and support you.
Mhm.
And she refused. So now you're having to deal with all that yourself. And your parents know about it and friends know about it and and I'm in rehab and I'm seeing people that are on harder drugs. And I'm looking around, I'm like, well, I don't have a problem. They got a problem. I ain't got a problem. you know?
Wow.
And it's the way the drug works, man.
That's
Yeah,
gnarly.
you deny it until you hit rock bottom, and I hadn't hit rock bottom yet. And
You hadn't hit rock bottom yet.
not rock bottom yet.
Damn.
Um, and I've hit rock bottom probably about 4 times in my life.
No shit.
Yeah. And I don't know how I recovered, but anyway, I so went through all that, partying, doing drugs, people over the house, go to rehab. Wife doesn't want to come back and support me through it. I figured she can get Al-Anon or some other kind of classes just to understand what I was going through. Never did. So finally, when I got out of rehab, she came back and I realized it wasn't the same. I said, fuck, I did this on my own. She wasn't there. So
Damn, bro.
why do I need her now? But we were good friends, you know? Um, so anyway, fuck, I'm crying. Anyway,
That's dude. What that takes a lot to check into rehab, and I just want to say bravo to you because I would not have made it through a whole rehab program if I didn't have any support. If I
uh,
checked myself in there and was like, I need you to come support me, and nobody came, I'd be like, well, what the fuck am I doing this for? I'm out.
yeah.
That's
Well, I did it for my parents.
good for
I
you.
did it for
Good for
myself,
you.
and I'm glad I did it. But it didn't help me. It made me smarter. It made me know what to avoid.
Oh fuck.
It made me learn how to control it better. Um.
That's crazy.
So anyway, I get out of rehab. I'm clean, and now my wife comes back, and we grew apart. So we decided to get divorced. And I remember my father-in-law coming to West Virginia, and this man was very wealthy, and I always looked up to him. And he came with his 16 or 20-foot Harley Davidson U-Haul or trailer.
Uh-huh.
He'd carry his bikes in, pulled up in the driveway. Now, mind you, my wife and I, we didn't have an adverse divorce.
So it was very
It was very
mutual and
cordial. Yeah.
okay.
Things like, I gave her the car, I gave her a lot of the furniture.
Sure.
We had just bought the house, so she didn't want the house because she was going back to West Virginia or Virginia.
Okay.
So we didn't have much paid on it, so it's not like we would have made a lot off of it. So she ended up giving me the house. She did take the dog. So there I am by myself. Um, and
But you're clean at this point, right?
I'm clean at this point,
Okay.
but I'm not around a support system. So, your mind starts to wander, your mind starts to work on yourself. Now I threw myself into work. So
Okay. I mean,
so
there's worse things.
but then alcohol
Okay.
came into play. Wasn't the drugs anymore, it was the alcohol.
Okay.
So I remember being with my coworkers, they lined me up on a blind date. I met this girl, very attractive, went on a date. We were drinking. She got sloshed, and I had gotten drunk myself. So I remember leaving the bar, asked her where she lived, which direction, so I could take her home.
Uh-huh.
She pointed to the right. I should have went left, so I ended up going right. And as we're going down the road, she got conscious enough to see we're going the wrong way. So what does my ass do after drinking? I decided to take a turn in the middle of the medium.
Holy shit, dude.
As soon as I made that turn in the medium, lights, I get lit up.
Uh,
So now I got a cop coming behind me. So I get out of the car. She's drunk off her gore. And I stepped out and I was like, damn, it hit me once I got outside the car. So, of course, got a DUI.
this is your third.
No, this is my first.
Oh, this is your first.
This is my first.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah, the second one came when, and mind you, the second one came and I'm still haven't finished the first one yet.
Oh fuck.
The second one came because now I'm going out partying again and drinking. And I remember going to Fairmont, which was down the road about 25 minutes, partied up there. And it's around 2, 3 in the morning. And I'm coming home and I'm like, damn, I'm hungry. So I decided to go to Hardee's in Clarksburg, West Virginia, and get me some fries and cheeseburger. End up pulling up at a stoplight. And I remember this car in front of me was from Ohio, and they didn't turn right on red to get back on the highway. So rather than me beat the horn, I was in no hurry. So I'm sitting there eating French fries and waiting for the light to change. And next thing I know, I hear,
Oh fuck. You fell asleep.
I fell asleep
Oh my god,
with
dude.
my foot on the brake,
Fuck.
sitting there, and I wake up and I'm looking at there's some cops.
Oh,
I'm like,
dude.
oh shit! And I haven't even been done with the first DUI.
Oh man.
So I put it in park. I get out. Once again, as soon as I get out, that air hits me, and I know I'm drunk.
Oh
Yeah.
jeez, dude.
So here goes DUI number 2, and I had gotten some lawyers, and what the lawyer had done was consolidate them into one,
Holy shit.
but it was still 2 misdemeanors. And so ended up, I think I went, did some weekend warrior time. Uh, I'm not really sure. I can't remember what exactly my consequences were, but I always ran to mom. So mom always made it, not that she made it better, but she always was there,
Wow.
and always helped me get through. And
What did two DUIs do to you mentally? How did you feel
not a
about
damn
yourself?
thing.
You didn't it was no never mind to you.
No,
Crazy. Okay.
that's the problem.
Okay.
I didn't care.
That's crazy.
So now, fast forward a couple years, and DUI number 3. Of course, this probably wasn't a good thing. Um, my mom had passed away, and no longer my support system there,
Oh, jeez.
and I still have my house, and my cousin moved in with me,
Okay.
and I remember him introducing me to this girl who was a stripper. She was about 5'3" and blonde hair, gorgeous. Turns out she was lesbian, but that didn't bother me. Um, anyway, she was a drinker too. So here we are drinking. And I remember one time I took her to work, and I'm sitting there at her work, and I'm not really very comfortable watching her do whatever she's doing.
That's fair.
So I remember getting up, and I'm drinking, drinking, drinking. I get up and give him the keys to the manager because I've been there so many times that I knew I couldn't drive. So, and to this day, nobody still believes me on this one. But which goes back to why I tell the truth. It doesn't matter. Um, but we end up getting the bar closes down.
Okay.
Everybody's leaving, and I'm like, "Look, I need a ride. I need somebody to." And she stepped up and she said, "Oh, I'll drive." Okay, so as long as I'm not driving, I don't care. So the manager gives her the keys, puts me in the car, and we end up pulling out. It's a snowy night,
Ugh.
and as we pull out, I don't know. I'm half out of it, laying against the door, and she noticed something up the hill. Car lights came on, whatever it might have been, and as she's driving along, she crests this hill, pulls over. Next thing I know, she's very athletic, jumps over on my lap, and she's pushing me over. Get over, get over. They're coming for me. I'm like, what? Who's coming for you? And I don't even know what's going on. So I roll over into the driver's seat. And when I get over there, I look in and mind you, my car had black tinted windows. Couldn't really see in that good. And I look up in my rearview mirror. I see these sirens.
Oh.
I'm like, oh, fuck, I can't be here either. And cop comes to the window. And first thing I said to him, sir, I wasn't driving. He goes, what do you mean you weren't driving? I said, I wasn't driving. She was driving. And he looked at her and he said, were you driving? And she goes, well, what if I say I was? And he said, well, then I'll take you in or test you for DUI.
Oh, shit.
And she looked at him and she said, nope, I wasn't driving. So now they're pulling me out of the car. And I'll be honest with you. If I'm telling the truth and you don't believe me, I'll fight you tooth and nail. And I'm telling these cops, look, I was not driving. And next thing I know, I'm getting hit with billy clubs
Oh, fuck.
and getting thrown into a car. And I end up going down the station. And that was my third DUI.
Holy shit, dude.
So it's just bad. So then I ended up, I can't remember, I ended up getting rid of that chick. You know, she was, that was the icing on the cake there. And I no longer helped her or tried to give her a place to live or whatever it might have been. But then as I'm living there, one of my stipulations was you need to go home confinement. So I had to wear an ankle bracelet for 6 months. Well, while I'm wearing this ankle bracelet and going back and forth to work, my company asked me if I wanted to go to Canada to live there to help build the system that we're using.
Oh, shit.
So I was like, yeah, I get out of this place and go there, live for 6 months, and change my life. Maybe different scenery, different environment.
Sure, yeah, yeah.
So I go to Canada, and granted, I did. I lost some weight. I was working out every day,
Nice.
and everything was great. And then I come back from um, Canada,
Uh-huh.
and my dad, while I was gone, my dad ended up staying in my place because we were building his farmhouse.
Okay.
So and he was helping me take care of the dogs, and so was my cousin. And when I come back, I get a call from this girl who knew I was divorced, and I guess she knew me in high school, and I never knew anything of her. But she wanted to come in. She was from Indianapolis, or she was from West Virginia, but moved to Indianapolis, and wanted to come in and see me and ask how things were going. So I was like, okay. First of all, I asked her, so what do you look like? She remember her telling me that I was just so superficial.
Sure. I can see it.
And she goes, don't worry about what I look like. I'm like, oh shit. Okay, well, you come in. Okay, so she drives all the way in from Indianapolis, and I remember when she pulled up in my driveway, I was looking out my big 2-story window, and I couldn't see because the sun was reflecting and it was blocking my eyes. I couldn't. It was reflecting in the window. I couldn't see what she looked like. I'm like, damn, I don't know whether to run or hide or what. So finally, she comes to the door. I got to answer the door now. So I answer the door. Lo and behold, I'm like, shocked. I mean, this girl was beautiful. A beauty's skin deep, brother. Whew. And so I invite her in. We're talking. She's listening to my situation. Dad's living with me. Cousin's living with me. I don't think she's very happy about all that. She asked me why I never left West Virginia. I was holding myself back, and I questioned the same thing. Um, but anyway, we end up dating, and I can't remember this whole situation, but she stood with me for a while because we ended up finishing my dad's farmhouse to the point where he moved out there.
Okay.
So now, and then I think my cousin might have ended up leaving as well, or he was just living in the other bedroom.
Okay.
But we ended up dating, and lo and behold, 6 months into it, 7 months into it, it was great for her because I'm on this ankle bracelet now because the police in West Virginia allowed me to postpone wearing the bracelet to go to Canada.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then they allowed me to go there for 6 months. But when I came back,
You had to start that
I had
ankle
to start
bracelet.
my ankle bracelet.
Okay.
So now I'm on home confinement, and she's aware of all this. And I think she kind of liked that because I couldn't go nowhere.
Oh, man.
So, so we dated for 6 months, and next thing I know, she was going to move in with me, and I forget what happened. As she was bringing her stuff down, the U-Haul got a flat. I asked her why she didn't call me, and she said it was just one excuse after the other. Okay, and I fed into all this. So that went on for the longest time. Then I remember her coming down and staying with me and find out this bitch is still married.
Ooh.
And I didn't even know anything about it because she was in Indianapolis and I'm in West Virginia. But she told me she's in the middle of a big divorce. Her husband was an orthopedic surgeon
Oh, man.
and everything else. And so I said, well, you know what? I got divorced. Same situation. Trying to be understanding, trying to look at it a different light. And I said, well, as long as you're divorced, and I'll help. We'll go through it together, and this and that. Well, one day I go to work on a Saturday, and come home. She had been there for months because she was a traveling nurse, and she had just packed up, left within
Oh,
4 hours.
shit.
I'm gone for 4 hours.
Oh.
I come back, she's gone. Packed her car up, took all her stuff, was gone. So mind you, I'm losing it, and I got this best friend back in my hometown that probably, I don't know how many times I just call him whether I was bawling or trying to figure out what was going on. But he was trying to always best friend I could ever have, always there for me, listening to all the shit I've been through. And we were talking about it, and I was thinking about, that's enough. I'm moving on. Well, turns out I get this message from her, and along with this email with an ultrasound,
Oh.
and I'm like, okay. She literally told me she was pregnant. So I said, you know what? It's my baby. I'll bring her back in. Brought her back in, lived with me for another 6 months. I'm talking to this belly, thinking this is my kid and everything else. I go back, same shit happened again. Went to work one day, and when I came home from work, everything was gone. I was like, what this is the second
Again.
time. Again. So now I'm trying to get hold of her because she's pregnant, 6, 7 months now. And we decided that, well, I couldn't get a hold of her for 2 weeks. Didn't know where she lived, didn't know where she was, didn't know nothing. So now I'm really losing it. So finally, 2 weeks in, I get a phone call. And it's her. And she tells me she's got bad news. She said that she'd been in the hospital for the last week. And I'm like, well, what kind of bad news? And she told me that when she got back to Virginia or Indianapolis, that her and her soon to be ex,
Uh-huh.
I guess it's still going on, got in an argument, and he threw her down, and she ended up having to go to the hospital, and she been in the hospital for the last week and a half. Supposedly had a stillbirth.
Oh.
So I said, well, why didn't you call me? Why didn't anything? Never had an answer. So at that point in my life, I said, you know what? I'm done. I'm cutting this off.
Yeah. Probably a good choice.
Yeah. So I cut this off, but mind you, I'm in a state of depression now. I just lost my kid because some other man threw this woman down, and it was a lot.
Yeah. I can see it.
Anyway, guess what pops back up in my life? Fucking drugs.
Oh.
Anyway,
Same drugs, same connections,
yeah,
same
same
people.
drugs. In the beginning, same drugs. Cocaine came back in. I would drown my problems.
Alcohol.
Eh,
More of the drugs.
more the drugs.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. So now, I'm buying an 8 ball here, 8 ball there. You know, I gotta connect.
So this is a coping mechanism at this point,
Yeah.
sort of a crutch. Damn, dude.
And I had lost my mom. So I had thought this woman that came into my life after I lost my mom, I thought she was God sent. She wasn't God sent, she was devil sent. Anyway, um, so I coped with drugs. And I remember going out, partying again,
Damn.
and basically had a relapse. And as I'm partying, I'm meeting probably some people you don't want to meet.
So, yeah, that's generally what happens.
And you're in situations you don't want to be in.
Yeah.
And, and along with drugs come greed, money,
Yeah.
things of that nature. And I remember, even there was a time I was even taking money from my parents.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And buying drugs and doing that. And or running up some cash advances on my credit cards.
Well, this lifestyle clearly isn't sustainable, right?
Yeah, but I didn't care. It wasn't sustainable. No.
I mean, if you're taking money from your parents, obviously it's not.
Yeah, but you don't realize that at the time.
Well,
You
what's
know.
your thought? What Lord, I know that it happens frequently and it's a very commonplace thing, but like what happened what's going through your head when you're like, I just need this fix. I don't care who I'm taking money from or who I'm hurting. Like is that a thought or at all, or is it just like gotta get this fixed? Whatever it takes, gotta get this fixed.
Yeah,
Damn, that's wild.
yeah. You don't care about nothing or nobody. All you're worried about is getting suppressing your problems because you don't know how to suppress them yourself,
That's
or you
wild.
don't know how to, or you never dealt with them yourself.
And is there ever a thought of like it's okay, they'll forgive me because we're family, or does it
Yeah,
matter? Does it matter to you?
they eventually found out, and of course, my family forgave me. I felt like shit over it.
Rightfully so.
Um,
I understand that. I would too.
and it's not something I planned on doing,
Sure.
but and then as the drugs got more hold of me, there were situations where guns became involved,
Oh,
and
hell no.
yeah, and you're either getting threatened for your life or you're threatening somebody else's life,
Damn.
for drugs or money, or you're out at a bar one time and you ask some guy if he knows where he can pick up some drugs, and he's telling you, "Yeah, let's go. I know where to go."
Oh, fuck.
Fuck. I drove fucking 5 hours to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
What the fuck?
Ended up in a fucking crack house where the fucking door was boarded shut. And I'm like, what the fuck am I doing here? And I was trying to interpolate all this shit. Next thing I know, he wasn't there to buy cocaine. He was there to buy crack. So I was like, man, and looking back, how did I put myself in that situation?
Why would you have gone through with that? 5 hours? That's nuts.
I don't know. I
That
don't know.
drive must be really fucking strong because
Yeah.
there's no way in
Well,
shit I would drive 5 hours for something.
that drug's not really the strongest.
That's crazy, man.
And so anyway, I remember coming back from Pennsylvania. Never got what I wanted. So, I'm still in a search, looking here and there. And then I finally get a connect, pretty regular. So I just, but mind you, I'm still going to work every day, still doing my job.
Well, and I was just gonna comment that the fact that you left Philadelphia without just saying, "Hey, fuck it, I drove all this way. I'm gonna do something," and just
Dude, I was
taking
scared for my
crack.
life. Oh, yeah, at that time, crack wasn't even on
Well,
my
I
mind.
mean that okay, so your drug addiction must not have been like out of the throes of craziness right at that point, because if you had enough wherewithal to walk away and be like, "This is not the drug I want," then probably you weren't at the worst of your addiction, I'm assuming.
Haven't got to that point yet.
Okay.
I knew when I saw crack, it was bad.
I mean,
That's all I knew. Know the
that's
word
wild.
crack and know that it's bad. And look,
Okay.
I'm having a hard enough time with powder.
Sure, sure, sure. Okay.
I don't need to throw something else in the mix.
So you get back and you have a regular connection.
Got a regular connection, and I remember being out at this bar one night, and I hear some girl, man, my Achilles heel. Some girl yells out, "Hey, is anybody going across town? I need to go to Bridgeport. Give me a ride." So I'm like, "Who is it?" So I was like, "Yeah, I'm going to Bridgeport." So we ended up leaving, coming across Bridgeport. As I'm coming across town to go home, I happened to bring up the fact, I got some drugs, or she brought up first, and I said, "Well, speaking of, I have some in my pocket. I was gonna go home by myself and do it." I was never one to be sociably around people doing this stuff.
It's understandable.
I hated myself, much like want to be around everybody else.
Sure.
Anyway, I remember her coming to my house. And dude, I would not wish this on my worst enemy. She looked at me and she goes, "You ever smoke it?" I'm like, "What? What are you talking about?" And she goes, "Yeah, you ever smoke it?" I said, "No, no, I don't know what you talking about." So began to watch this woman act like, I don't know, Harry Potter and make this apparatus.
Oh my god.
She's asking me for a medicine bottle. She's asking me for um, baking soda, a spoon, aluminum foil,
Holy shit.
rubber band,
Oh my
ice.
god.
And I'm watching all this. I'm like, what the hell is she doing? But it didn't dawn on me. She takes this rock cocaine that I'm used to doing of powder and puts it in a spoon with a little bit of water and a little bit of baking soda, heats it up. I'm watching this. I'm like, Doesn't ever say the word crack, though. Just watches her do all this stuff. Then she takes it out of that spoon, puts it in top of the aluminum foil with some holes in the aluminum foil with some cigarette ashes and takes a hit. So I'm thinking, she's like, "Oh, that's so good." I'm like, "What the fuck is that?" She's, "Try it, try it." Fuck. So I did. $80,000 later.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah, I was on a fucking mission at that point.
Holy shit. So this became your new
Yeah, but I
drug of
knew I didn't
choice.
want that. I never wanted that.
At what point did you realize, oh shit, I'm a crackhead? Like this is what I was trying to avoid.
I never,
You
never,
never realized it.
never realized it because
$80,000 lady
I was the high
later.
class crack addict.
Jesus
I still
Christ,
had my
dude.
house, still working,
Wow, that's
still doing all
fucking
this stuff.
insane.
It wasn't till, and I'm not proud to say this, it wasn't until, oh, yeah, this I'm not proud of at all. My dad, mind you, when I was in Canada, um, my dad called me and said he met a woman. He was gonna get married.
Oh wow.
So, so this was like, I don't know, maybe a year later after all this.
Okay.
I can't remember the dates. It's all gargled together, and
That's
I've
fair.
tried to forget this whole life.
That's fair.
Anyway, I remember I'm smoking crack, and I got like 3 hours to be at my dad's wedding. So the more I panicked, the more anxiety I got, the more I smoked,
Oh God.
the worse I got. And I remember going to my dad's wedding, sweating up a fucking storm. And I can't take that back. But I ended up leaving right after the wedding. I couldn't even go to the reception. That's how fucked up I was. And I was all out of crack. So it wasn't like I was going to do any more. And I just went home and crashed. I think I was on a 72-hour bender. I
Jesus
hadn't slept for
Christ.
72 hours. Anyway, got through that night. Apologized to my dad. Of course, they knew something was going on, but I don't think they ever wanted to admit it. Um,
Damn.
but anyway, that's when my life took a dark turn.
That's
Yeah.
that's when your life took a dark turn. You already were in the throes of darkness.
Not in my mind.
Wow.
He's now, you know, I got a connect that sells crack, and I'm meeting these son of bitches like clockwork anytime I make a phone call.
Jeez.
And I mean, these guys, I think they were Jamaican, and that's all they did was came here and buy Coke and rock it up and sell it to people and watch everybody's lives fall apart.
That's crazy shit.
And and lo and behold, I'm still friends with the girl who gave me the first hit. So that was probably not a good thing. So I'm still around those group of people. I'm involved in things that I don't want to be involved in.
Sure.
And now I go to work. I don't know how to say this shit. I remember going in the fucking bathroom next to the window, take a hit of crack while I'm at work.
At work.
Yeah.
So, okay, let me just stop you for a minute there. It's obvious that you have a lot of guilt about this and that this is a low for you, but this is not unusual. Like, it's not abnormal. I,
That's why I'm here, man. If I can help somebody else.
I, let me tell you a quick, just little thing. I worked at Red Lobster in Santa Fe
Right?
with some friends. And in the throes of us doing, and mind you, I got out before shit got real bad there. But in the throes of us and our drug experimentation, let's call it,
Mm-hmm.
we were exchanging hits of whatever the fuck was in the bathroom, bro. Like in the employee bathroom in the back,
Mm-hmm.
somebody would go in there and put something on the toilet, spread the word, and everybody would go in there one at a time, and just whatever was in there, everybody was doing it.
Been there, done that one too.
And after I exited that place because I was not the drug type, like yes, I loved my experimentation, but I also recognized myself getting out of control and kind of tried to put a stop to it as best I could. But when I left there, there was a day where paramedics were called over there and they had to shut the restaurant down because so many of the employees crashed out on GHB.
Mm-hmm.
So many of them like blacked out and had to get rushed to the
Wow.
hospital because everybody was fucked up. Like
It's
it,
almost like peer pressure. It's almost like, you
it's
see your friend doing it, it's okay. Or,
yeah, it's
it gets a
but
hold of you.
so I get your guilt and I get what you're saying that you feel like that was I don't know. I almost want to say maybe you felt alone, like you were this piece of shit who was by himself. But dude, that happens every day, so many places. This was in Santa Fe.
Yeah, but the way I was brought up,
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean
yeah,
everybody was.
yeah,
Nobody's parents bring them up and are like, "Hey, you need to be doing drugs when you're this shit is fun." Like nobody does that. Everybody has this expectation of decent behavior and stuff like that. So nobody's proud of it. Just everybody does it because it's an experimentation thing. So I mean, maybe the guilt that you carry is a little too much. You're being a little too hard on yourself. You weren't the only one. We've all been in those situations that we're not proud of, and that were our lows.
yeah, but it didn't stop there.
Oof.
Anyway, um, now I'm going around different, smoking in the bathroom, which is a no no.
Hey, clearly.
And I remember it never affected my work until then. That's when I said, there's something. Maybe I was looking at like, as long as I keep a job, as long as I keep
Yeah,
never, yeah, I got $80,000 bill I got to pay, but at least I got money to pay it. And
the justifications.
yeah. Anyway, I go to a meeting
Wait, we talking like?
at work.
Oh, okay.
Go to a
Work
meeting at
meeting.
work, and next thing I know, I doze off like this. Mind you, when you do all these benders at night or whatever, and you get 3, 4 hours sleep or whatever it may be, or it's all weekend and you finally go to sleep,
Uh huh.
you're trying to control it, but you can't.
Okay.
And so I fall asleep at work. My boss looks at me and says, Anthony. wake up. He said, "What's wrong?" I said, "Fuck." I said, I got sleep apnea. I got this problem, that problem. I said, "I'm not resting at night." So they put me on 30 days paid administration leave
Holy shit.
to go and get tested. That was good and that was bad. That was good because I'm no longer risking losing my job. But that was bad because, fuck, now I got 30 days. Do whatever the hell I want.
Uh,
So so that's when things got bad. I was in places I shouldn't have been, people I shouldn't have been around,
sure.
you know. Even during this time, even though I owed all that money, I was still helping people with their own problems. One guy asked me for $7,500 to pay his payroll for construction.
Holy shit.
And even though I didn't have it, I found a way to get it. Put it on another credit card.
Oh my god, dude.
I had a lot of credit. That was probably a bad thing.
$80,000 worth?
I had yeah,
That's wild.
I had like 5 cards and they were $40,000 each.
Jesus Christ, dude.
So, mind you, I was a young kid with my mom started me out in high school, co-signed for credit. So I had all these credit cards for years on end.
Crazy.
And they kept raising my credit limits. Job kept increasing my salary, so it was always good. And really, I didn't have a whole lot of bills. So,
Damn.
so yeah, and then the stealing the money thing and all that other shit. So, but anyway, I was in places and I saw some people that were part of the neighborhood. I'm like, fuck, you play football too, And I'd say, but I never talk about them.
Sure.
But I knew they were in the same
Circles.
depths of hell
Yeah.
that I was in, and and then I remember going to Pittsburgh one time. I was downtown and in Section 8 housing, and I was going to meet this guy who was going to give me a bag for some money. I gave him the money, he gave me a bag. I go home, fucking shit is drywall powder.
Oh.
And yeah, so that wasn't good. So, it's just a ruthless life, man. And I remember, worried about my own self. So at one of these events, some guy traded me a gun for some crack. And now I've got a gun on me.
Ugh.
So I remember being in this house one time, and guess who I saw? That same guy took my money, gave me the drywall dust. And, it wasn't. Within 2 seconds, I had the gun to his head. I don't know why I didn't pull the trigger. And thank God I didn't.
No shit, dude.
Because you just don't care. Nothing matters. Anyway, I just didn't like the fact, even though I was in that environment, I was honest, trustworthy. If I gave you money, I expect something back. I wasn't trying to rook anybody. I was already screwing myself as much as I could. I wasn't going to hurt anybody else.
That's a very fair statement.
But when that happened, I took this guy and I took him in my car. And I was thinking, where can I go to bury his ass?
Holy shit.
And that's when I know it was divine intervention on this one. Because I'm driving through town. I hit a pothole. Ba-boom, ba-boom. I'm like, what the fuck? I pull over. I got 2 flat tires.
Oh shit.
So wherever I was going to go, they didn't want me to get there. So I rolled up to this discount tire to to get my car fixed. Now he's got a escape route. So he gets out when I get out, and I still remember this to this day. Oh shit! He goes up around the corner, about 50 yards, about 25 yards from me because he was scared shitless, and looks at me, and I said, "Yeah, I'll get you again sometime." And he reaches in his pocket, pulls out a fucking bag of crack. You think I would have checked his fucking pocket? I would have got my stuff. No, I didn't even check his fucking pocket. I'm just about ready to kill a guy.
Jesus.
So he took off running. Never found him again after that one.
Probably a good thing.
And got my tires fixed. And, suck up that loss again. And so I'm still trying. Well, mind you, I'm out one night and we're playing cards. And somebody made the comment, we need to get some of that stuff. So I had to connect. I thought I'd go get some. And I got my dog in the back seat. One of the guys from playing cards comes with me. I got a gun with me. I go to this bad part of the neighborhood, and I'm not proud of this at all. But I ended up picking up. I had a connect to where I was getting fronted. So he gave me this, I don't know, 10-ounce piece of crack.
What the fuck?
And as I'm leaving, go back to, you know, I'd always be in like a safe environment before I'd ever touch this stuff in the house or somewhere. Now, mind you, I'd probably drive afterwards or go wherever I'm going, but I always thought I never wanted to be out in public. So I'm driving back to poker game. I see this cop following me.
Oh fuck.
So this cop's following me for about 4 miles. And I'm thinking, fuck, am I going to? First thing that came to my mind is I got 3 DUIs. I don't need another one. I'm not even thinking I got 10-ounce piece of crack on me
No shit.
and
Or a gun.
or a gun. So I decide to pull behind my work and park the car. I start walking down the street and I walk into the parking lot of my work. And now the cop finally gets up behind me and I'm wearing a tank top and sweatpants. And this woman yells out, "Where you going?" I said, "I'm going into work here." She says, "No, you're not." I said, "Yes, I am." She goes, "You don't work here." And I said, "Yes, I do." She goes, "No, you don't." So she gets out. She looks at me. And it's almost like I was set up. I don't know. Anyway, but she says, "Well, I need CID." I said, "For what?" And she goes, "Well, for starters, public intox," which I had been drinking too. I said, "Well, I ain't got my license, my wallet. It's in the car." But that guy who was with me took the gun, didn't take the crack though, took the gun and ran. So he wasn't around, which was probably a good thing. I didn't want a gun, but I also had a scale in the back of my car too.
Oh no.
Yeah, but the scale wasn't there. It was just a box. So it's a combination of things that didn't look very good.
No shit.
Anyway, she says, "Well, I need license registration." I said, "For what?" She said, "Public intox." So I said, "It's in my car." She goes, "Well, we need to go back to your car and get it." And because I stepped onto that parking lot and I was on security camera, my work got involved.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and this cop looks at me and she goes, "My dog's in the back car shaking." And this cop looks at me and says, "Do you mind if I search your car?" dude, who the fuck in their right mind is going to say, I don't give a fuck? Go ahead. When they got a 10-ounce piece of rock sitting in the console. Me.
Oh, jeez, dude.
So I said, I don't care. Go ahead. So I'm thinking I'm getting in trouble for alcohol. And she starts looking through my car, and I'm standing outside talking to the other cop. And I'm shaking. And he goes, why are you shaking? I said, well, fuck, it's cold out here. And then she comes up and she says, he's shaking because he doesn't have his medicine. And I
Oh.
look over and I'm like, what's she talking
Oh,
about? And she's got that.
oh man.
So I ended up getting arrested that night. And yeah, I kind of lost it that night because that was kind of the icing on the cake.